Right then, this is a quick walk around video for a really lovely looking car. Now this is a Honda Civic 1.6 EX diesel, 2013 car with just 66,000 miles on the clock. Finished in black with black alloys, looks absolutely fantastic. The car's in lovely condition. I'm going to go around it for you. Front of the car, nice and clean. Headlights there, clear and intact. There's no cracks or condensation in those. Bonnet, very, very clean indeed. Any stone chips, very minor indeed. Near side of the car, really smooth in the panels. Can't see any obvious car park indentations. Near side front alloy, really, really nice. And panels on this side again, very, very nice. Near side rear alloy, likewise. It is very clean. Off side of the car, driver's side, again beautifully smooth down the panel work. Some rear alloy, lovely. And the remaining panel work, likewise, really lovely. I mean, for a car that's 12 years old, as I always say, there will be the odd minor blemish that I can't quite see or haven't picked up on, but in all honesty, it's extraordinarily clean. Coming to the back, absolutely cavernous boots, and as you expect of a Honda, beautifully finished and in really good condition as well. Let's come into the back, and this is the business end for Civics, because this is where kids sit, so they can be quite heavily used. Yet this one has been treated very nicely, and the wear is minimal. The front of the passenger side, again lovely and clean. Passenger seat again in very nice condition. Finally come to the driver's door card. Again, same as the others, really nice. Same with the footwell areas. The driver's seat for a car of its age is in absolutely superb condition. Inside the car now, engine's running, so the dash is illuminated, which looks in absolutely superb condition. So go up there for you, 66,064 miles. Sat nav working exactly as it should. Pop the car into reverse with that lovely clear rear parking camera. And it complements the front and rear parking sensors. Carrying on down, really is lovely. And that is a view you get as a driver of a Honda Civic. My opinion, by far and away, the best dash design anywhere in its class. Engine's running, as you can see, there are no warning lights on at all. Finally, just to show you, owner's manual pack and lock and wheel nut key, all here and present with the car. Right then, this is a quick road test video, and this is for a Honda Civic 1.6 EX diesel. The car is registered PN13AMV, and mileage at the start of the road test is 66,064 miles. The reason we do all of our videos, by the way, so it's just fuel light coming on. The reason we do all of our videos is really simple. It's just to ensure that if anyone's online looking at any of the cars we're selling, they get to see those very cars actually in operation. And the reason we've always felt it important is purely because, like lots of people, we've been to see cars which have looked perfectly good in a photograph or description, but only to find out when you get there there's an obvious fault that shows up when driving the car. We also do it on these very quiet country roads in this absolutely beautiful part of Gloucestershire. And this actually forms part of the road test route we take our customers on. And the hope is, of course, to be representative of what you'd feel yourself should you go on a drive in the car. So, coming to the car, be very, very well maintained. Twist the key, engine bursts into life immediately, settles to smooth, even idle. Temperature gauge running at a third, as it's meant to be on all Honda cars, and there are no warning lights on the dashboard. The engine, typical Honda, beautifully engineered things. It exhibits all the traits you'd expect of a Honda. They're incredibly tough and reliable over huge mileages, but they're also cam chain driven, so there's no cam belts to have to worry about on them. But more than that, and as I always say, it's just actually how they drive. It's smooth, it's quiet, it's flexible, it's got plenty of power. Very economical, of course. But what stands out with this is the fact that it's not one of these diesels. Sometimes getting a diesel, it can feel pretty quick, you know, they pull, they fly away, but then they die away very quickly. So they tend to have quite a narrow power band. You've got to kind of keep it in there, which means using the gearbox lots and lots. With the Honda, it's very flexible. You've got a real broad spread of power, about 1500 RPM. It really picks up, but it keeps going and keeps going and keeps going. And you can keep it in that kind of happy spot for a lot longer than most of its competitors. It just makes it a much more relaxing way to drive. And also means the economy comes relatively easily to the car as well. And I've owned numerous of these over the years. Even doing short trips, which wasn't conducive to good economy, I'd be getting 55, 60 to the gallon. Doing any longer trips would be well over 70. So and that's not trying to drive economically either. That's just the parking sensors beeping, proves they work. Engine then feeds through into the clutch and gearbox. Clutch in the car, absolutely perfect. Bike point exactly where it's meant to be, and it's lovely and smooth in operation. The gearbox is an object lesson to other manufacturers in just how to do a good gearbox, especially as most, if not all, front wheel drive cars these days are cable operated from the gear lever here to the gearbox under the bonnet. Unfortunately, that means getting lots of cars and they can feel light, lifeless, vague, horrible feeling gearboxes don't engage with you, excuse the expression, at all. This is the opposite. It feels meaty, it feels mechanical, absolutely precise. You can feel the gears engage. It's a lovely, lovely gearbox to use, and that feels exactly as it would have done when it was new. Then we move on to the drive of the car, and as I always say with the Civics, it's one of the very few cars in its class that can actually achieve two things. First of all, if you just want to buy the car as a family car, get you from A to B comfortably, it does a brilliant job. It's settled, it's smooth, the steering's lovely, it's really nicely weighted, but pinpoint accurate and precise, and it's perfect in that sense. But also, by the way, track's absolutely dead straight without any vibrations at this speed or any speed up to the legal limit. But for those who still enjoy their driving and get a buzz out of driving, and I'm still in that camp even after all these years, it's a car that rewards. It's got a lovely front end. It means that you can lean on it. It's keen to change direction. It flows through corners. It's a lovely, lovely car for the enthusiast as well. And that, as I said, it's hard to achieve, because if you go for that, you normally end up with a brittle, hard ride. Or if you just go for a soft suspension to get a comfortable ride, you can end up with something that just lollops about and flops about, and you just got to drive at minimal speed to keep it in check. Worth pointing out, there's absolutely no clunks or rattles from underneath the vehicle, all as tight as a drum. Brakes are excellent. I'm not going to stamp them too hard. I normally do. It's just that we've fitted brand new front brake pads to the car, and they needed to be bedded in over the first sort of 50 to 100 miles, so I'm not going to ruin that. But they're obviously perfect. The pedals fantastic. There's no pulsing at all. And then we come inside the car. The car is now 12 years old. Absolutely no squeaks, no rattles, nothing. They are beautifully put together. More subjective is the interior, but for me at least, and fortunately for lots of my customers who share the same view on it, I love this interior. I love the way it looks, but what is unarguable is actually how it operates, because ergonomically it is genius. The most conventional bits is probably the centre stack here. So you've got the sat nav, which works perfectly, and one of the nicest ones you'll ever use. Down below that, dual zone climate control system, so you can have different temperatures on either side, and that pumps out lovely cold air. And obviously you've got your heated seats down there as well. But my favourite part is what I'm looking at directly in front, this two-tier design, upper and lower deck. So what Honda's thinking is that the information you need to look at most regularly on the move, they don't want you looking down, taking your eyes off the road. So the upper deck, you've got an information display panel just there. So if I was to change things like your fan speed or a radio setting, you've got a small display down here, but it comes up much bigger on the screen if I press that, so I can see it clearly without looking down at all. But the display that everyone should be looking at most regularly, of course, is your speed, and there it is. White on black digital display, big, bold, all by itself. It basically means as I drive along now, I can be looking at pedestrians or other cars, cyclists, whoever it may happen to be, but not take my eyes off the road for a single second. It is simply genius. Then down below that, you've got more conventional podder dials, rev counter in the middle, flanked either side by temperature and fuel gauges. It's in fantastic condition in here, and the car, it's 12 years old. It doesn't feel like a car that's 3 years old to drive. Also, it still feels completely modern. That's the thing. There's very few cars that launch today that drive as nicely as this thing does. It's a wonderful car, but as I said, I can't fault it.